Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Louise Huber begins now.
Good evening. Residents and workers across Invermay have been forced to flee after a natural gas pipeline was ruptured. Emergency services taking every precaution, with several petrol stations nearby posing a major risk.
A frightening start to Friday for Invermay. Just before 9 o'clock, those near Brooms Avenue were told to evacuate due to a gas leak.
We sort of had an idea what was going on because I heard all the sirens and saw the fire brigade down there and saw something's going on there.
Nearby residents and businesses told to get out of the area.
We just went, we left our furniture out the front and that we normally have out there.
An exclusion zone established. Police redirecting busy Invermay road traffic away from the scene.
Our main concerns was in the event there might have been an ignition or a combustion event occur, and that's why we isolated the area.
But the frightening scenario was short-lived. Authorities giving the all clear just after 11 after allowing residents and workers to return to the area.
There was some work being done on the site. We're unsure of what that work practice was at present time.
While the exclusion zone covered 150 metres away from the epicentre here at Invermay, as far away as Launceston Airport was notified of the leak.
Natural gas is lighter than air, so that was just to inform them of the potential hazard and risk involved.
Some business operators saying it's the first time they had to evacuate due to a line rupture.
Yeah, we just shut the shop up and sat out the back.
It looked like they had it all under control. And
investigators are working to determine what caused the incident. Mark Zita, 7 Tasmania News.
Next year's Dark Mofo has been canned. A winter tourist drawcard, its organisers say rising costs and changing conditions are behind their pause and a reset. It's a blow to Tasmania's tourism operators, who nonetheless remain hopeful for the festival's future.
A dark day for an event which has lit winter nights for a decade.
While it's a tough decision, it allows us the time to ensure that we have a festival for another decade of darkness and allows us to face head-on rising costs and changing conditions.
Next year we'll see the Winter Feast and Nude Solstice Swim fly solo, alongside a single major exhibition at Mona. Businesses hoping the time off comes with a plan so traders aren't left in the dark.
Taking a rest in 2024, I hope they enjoy the rest, but it's going to make it really tough on lots of businesses who have not actually done anything to take that into account as a contingency.
Despite an expected drop in visitor numbers, the tourism industry says the break is necessary for the longevity of the event.
We're going to have to work very hard to get visitors here during the winter season, that we have a plan for that and we all work together to achieve that to support the industry.
The Premier and Tourism Minister confirming he's on board.
The Come Down for Air campaign, we also have, of course, our winter campaign as well. That will continue, and no doubt there'll be other areas that we can invest in.
This year's Dark Mofo saw $5.5 million in revenue and 100,000 tickets sold, mostly to tourists. While organisers say the 2025 event will be bigger and better, the impact of its hiatus remains to be seen. The community divided over the announcement, some taking to social media to express their views.
Gives the locals something to do as well, so it's obviously a shame.
Others hopeful of a return stronger than ever.
It's brought us into the light in the winter solstice.
Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News.
And we have some developing news near Devonport, where emergency services are attending to a serious crash between a car and a motorbike. Reporter Josh Duggan joins us now. Good evening, Josh. What can you tell us?
Good evening, Louise. Police have been on site at Stony Rise Road where the crash occurred since this afternoon. They say 2 people were on the motorcycle. One of those riders is receiving medical treatment, but there's been no condition update yet on the second. The car driver was uninjured. Drivers are being asked to avoid the area around the Stony Rise and Durkin Roads intersection. Louise?
All right, thanks for that, Josh. Firefighters will be carrying out additional burns near Coles Bay over the weekend in a bid to contain a bushfire burning at friendly beaches. The TFS says favourable weather has helped their efforts so far and is forecast to continue until mid-next week. This weekend's burn will cover around 1,200 hectares of national park and 700 hectares of private land in the area. The bushfire remains at advice level and residents are urged to monitor conditions through the Tas Alert website. Mechanics at Metro's Howick Street depot in Launceston have downed tools as part of ongoing strike action by the Australian Manufacturing Workers Union. They're calling for the state government to ensure their pay matches industry standard rates to improve retention and recruitment.
Yeah, there's been fantastic display of support here. We've had honking from the community. We've had people from the community stop and thank us.
Union figures show a 60% staff turnover in the past 18 months. State Labor has called for the government to provide paramedics more permanent work to address the ongoing health crisis. Data obtained from questions on notice in Parliament found 1 in 5 paramedics are employed through fixed-term or casual contracts.
This government's had nearly 10 years to fix the crisis across our health system and it's failed miserably.
Well, we've employed 97 paramedics and put them onto full-time positions at the last budget.
The Department of Health says all recruitment decisions are made case by case in a merit-based process. Tradies are being warned to take extra care to ensure their tools are safe from thieves as Crime Stoppers Week draws to a close. Equipment theft is something many young apprentices have faced, costing them thousands of dollars.
So at Claremont probably would have been a year ago. The container was locked overnight and come in the morning and all my tools were missing and stolen. So yeah, pretty disappointing really.
To combat the problem, the Claremont Hotel now has dedicated parking spots for tradies in an effort to prevent targeted attacks.
A well-lit area, it's well signed and it's specific for the tradies' vehicles, so everyone that's sitting in the hotel there can keep their eye on the car park.
While at home, the advice remains to lock vehicles and keep valuables out of sight. Water restrictions are a thing of the past, according to Taswater, which has put down the tools on its upgraded treatment plant at Plenty. The redevelopment securing 50 years of safe drinking water for 200,000 Tasmanians.
Lifting the veil on a world-class facility. Taswater has officially opened its Brynest water treatment plant after nearly 4 years of hard work.
As the community grows, our infrastructure will be augmented to cater for that growth. This facility, as it stands at the moment, will be able to cater for the next 50 years at least.
The government pumping $244 million into the redevelopment, delivered under budget and on time.
It's a testament to the hard work and the innovation and the commitment of many thousands of people across Tasmania.
The future-proofed facility will produce 160 million litres of water each day. Every drop subject to a thorough treatment process which includes filtration, oxidation, absorption with activated carbon, chlorination and UV disinfection.
We do 273,000 tests a year. That breaks down to about 1 test every 2 minutes.
The supply reaching taps in 8 suburbs from Hobart to the Southern Midlands.
It's not possible to have clean, potable, safe, nice tasting water without incredible facilities like this.
Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
Year 12 students at Hobart's Hutchins School have put in a marathon effort, running 12 hours through the night for a good cause. It's part of the school's annual runathon this year in support of Tasmanian women affected by gynecological cancer.
You know how fantastic that is that young men are out running in support of the women in their lives and creating such tremendous awareness around those insidious diseases that impact on so many women.
2 a.m. till 4 a.m. block was the graveyard block, we called it. And we had people walking and running then. People were doing half marathons and marathons, so it was a great effort from everybody.
The boys notched up 3,500 laps of their main oval, covering 1,400 kilometres. This weekend's TSL Grand Final will be a case of back to the future, with North Hobart Oval hosting its first statewide decider since Glenorchy defeated North Launceston in 1999. Tonight, we take a look back at that match ahead of what shapes as one final fling for the state's spiritual home of footy.
The more things change, the more they stay the same. Much like tomorrow's decider, the 1999 encounter was played during changing times.
The Kemp report is cited as supporting evidence for reducing the statewide league to 6 teams.
The story Glenorchy Magpies in the firing line.
The wash-up is that Glenorchy and Derwent Eagles are the worst performing clubs in statewide football.
On field, they were flying, having beat minor premier North Launceston in the semi-finals. In their first grand final since 1988, they started with 4 of the first 5 goals.
Darren Kapler proving dangerous outside 50.
Now as he plays on and gets a good kick, he could kick this, Darren Kapler. He's a tremendous kick. He's kicked it!
2 goals in 30 seconds from Shane Stevenson put Glenorchy 11 points up at half-time. Matt Burns broke the game open in the Premiership quarter with 3 goals.
And the Magpies come forward again, and it's another mark. He's third in just a few minutes from Matthew Burns.
Despite some Andrew McLean brilliance, it wasn't to be for North. As tempers frayed, Glenorchy pulled away. Craig Carter sealing a famous Pies premiership.
Craig Carter, this will just about do it for the Magpies. Carter!
The 99-53 win bringing joy to an uncertain club.
99 Premier!
Amazingly, that was the last grand final at the Oval until tomorrow. The home of numerous grand finals and memorable Map Guernsey moments set to shine once again.
North Hobart's known as the spiritual ground of Tasmania, so to have tomorrow's grand final back here is just tremendous.
A final hurrah ahead of looming changes. John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania is cracking down on domestic and sexual violence with $3.1 million of federal government funding. The money will go towards 2 trial programs focused on intervention. The first will be court-mandated, ordering people with violence charges to attend behaviour changing sessions. Meanwhile, the second will work with short-term prisoners, looking at their relationships through counselling, as well as helping organise stable housing away from victim survivors.
Importantly, in these programs there will be connections and safety checks with victim survivors, so we are not ignoring the victim survivors as part of this.
The trial programs will be run over the next 4 years. Tasmanians are losing more than ever to gambling, according to new figures from Anglicare. Nearly $190 million was lost to pokies in the past financial year, up by $11.5 million. The report also showing calls to the Gamblers Help Service have spiked by 1/3. Anglicare now repeating calls for a poker machine card system to stop punters from spending more than $100 a day.
We do see people losing tens of thousands of dollars, people losing their houses, having relationship breakdowns.
The government says it's still committed to introducing a card system by the end of next year and has handed the job over to Tasmania's Liquor and Gaming Commission to implement the plan. Tas Networks is joining forces with a leading animal rescue centre to support treatment for injured birds. It's investing $165,000 to support Bonorong Wildlife Sanctuary's treatment centre. The 3-year commitment will help fund recovery and critical care for injured birds. Tas Networks says 26 threatened species incidents were reported to them last financial year.
South Hobart is expecting tomorrow's NPL Grand Final to be a physical encounter. The Reds will face the Devonport Strikers at Valley Road tomorrow with the season's final trophy on the line. Both sides met in the Lacca Seljak Cup final in June, which was a tough and physical contest. South's coach is expecting more of the same.
For us, we have to go and break them down. So it will be a bid-well and last in midfield. They're grafters, they put the foot in, they have a go. So it'll be a good battle, I would assume.
In the WSL decider, Clarence will be looking to finish off the season in style against Devonport. Billy Stanlake has been declared fit to play ahead of Tasmania's opening Marsh Cup matches next week. The entire squad were put through their paces at an intra-squad practice match this morning. Stanlake among those taking part, pushing his case for selection. After missing all of last season due to injury, the Tigers say the fast bowler has not missed a beat during pre-season.
He's played quite a few matches up in Darwin in the off-season. He's played all our pre-season matches, so he's raring to go.
Tasmania will travel to Melbourne to play Victoria on Monday, followed by New South Wales on Wednesday.
Good evening. Well, yes, the Collingwood colours tonight, and for a very good reason, which we'll get to in a minute. Let's see what happened today first. Hobart, Launceston and Devonport all 16. Burnie a high of 15 degrees. 18 at St Helens the warmest. Bushy Park and Friendly Beaches 16 today. Lowhead, Grove, Strawn and the Islands all 14. Lyawini -6 last night before reaching 10 today. Mostly cloudy conditions over the west and far south of the state. Clearer skies over the northeast. Low-level cloud is over coastal Victoria, New South Wales and Queensland. All clear elsewhere apart from an area of mid-level cloud over WA. Now tomorrow a high moves over Tasmania, a trough continues over the nation's west and north. Finally, some lighter winds on the way, mostly variable across the state at 5 to 15 knots, swells at 3 metres in southern waters. Forecast for tomorrow, 17 for Hobart and cloudy, up to 15 for Maydena. A possible shower, Oatlands cloudy and 16 degrees. Launceston a high of 19 and partly cloudy, 16 for Devonport. Another cool one for Lyawini, not as cold as last night, 0 to 14. 15 for Burnie, a shower for Strawn, 16 the maximum. Marrawar a high of 15 degrees. St Helens 17 tomorrow, Swansea 17 tomorrow, Orford 17 tomorrow. And on Sunday, fine and sunny weather, at worst partly cloudy, Hobart a top of 21. A shower over the south and west on Monday, partly cloudy for the rest of the state, Launceston and Swansea 20. Similar weather on Tuesday, but slightly cooler. 20 in Perth tomorrow, a sunny 24 for Adelaide, fine weather in Melbourne, cold at first in Canberra, some cloudy conditions over Sydney with 21 and Brisbane on 23. Current conditions all fairly consistent, 12 degrees in Hobart, Launceston and Devonport. And every Friday night during this footy season, Louise, when I've worn a football club tie, that team has lost. So tonight, it's Collingwood's turn. But you'll have to agree, wouldn't you, that football would be the winner, wouldn't it, if we had a GWS Brisbane Grand Final? What do you reckon?
No, I reckon no, and I think you're wrong, as usual. Thanks for that, Matt. That's all your news for now. I will be back later with updates. Thank you for joining us. Have a lovely evening. Good night.